so what are the theories that I am going to cover today? The first one is theory number 1. We've got the origins of Marika and Radagon. Or is it Radagon? Radagon. Marika and Radagon. The origins. Okay, so that's the first one. Okay, second insane theory, and this is why we're wearing the tinfoil hats, because these theories are no doubt, I'm sure, going to be completely rejected by the wider Souls community, the wider Elden Ring Theory community, but we're protected from those criticisms. Let's throw these theories out into the wild. Let's see. Let chaos take the world. And on that theme, all fire is connected somehow. Okay? So this is Gelmir. Gelmir's fire. Black Flame. And Fire Giant Fire. Fire Giant Fire. I'm sure there's some other fires as well. But yeah, okay? All connected. Right? That's the second theory. And the third one, okay, is twin theory. And this is a fun one as well. So, first thing to point out about all these theories, okay, is they might not work together flawlessly. Okay, I've done. My brain has just been absorbing so much, and so there's a. I might have missed something, but that's why I'm like, you know what? Let's do this as a video, because then it means that people can comment and can say, "Oh, you missed this," and particularly if it's live, I can be like, "Huh, let's think about this together," which is great. So. The first one, Marika and Radagon, the origins. I've got notes here. I never prepare notes, but I've got notes for this. Okay, so here we go. The first thing to know, right, about Marika and Radagon. Okay, so here's the craziness. Okay, this is the crazy idea that some of you might not like, but here it is. Radagon and Marika are the same person. Okay. Wild, I know. Now, where are you getting this? Well, it's kind of a spoiler. It's one of the big game reveals. Let's see if we can see Law of Regression. Is that the right one? Law of Regression, incantation. So, let's scroll down. It doesn't actually say there about law of regression, but basically, okay. Let's see if I can find. Hang on, let me see if I can find the actual. Well, the line is Radagon is Marika. Okay, you find it out. You do Gold Mask's quest. Okay, part of the quest. Okay, is Gold Mask gets stuck. As he is working out, keep your hat on, Terry. As he is working out who Radagon and Marika are, and he can't work out who Radagon is, and you go on a little investigation, and part of this will take you to the Turtle Pope Miriel, Pastor of Vows, who will say to you that a sculptor was commissioned to make a sculpture of Radagon, and when he did, he saw skeletons in Radagon's closet, which were said to be locked inside the statue. You go to the statue of Radagon, and you cast this spell, Law of Regression, and it will dispel an illusion on the statue, which breaks it. Hello, Purple Polenta. Breaks it, transforming the statue into a statue of Marika. And the statement is, Radagon is Marika. And this sends everybody crazy. They're like, what? How can this be? Hello, Hercules. And like in fact, you know what? Let's find a little clip of. Let's find a little clip of. Hang on. I'm not gonna just. Got to be smart here. Do not just search the internet on the window that's on the stream. Search the internet off the stream. Okay. So, that's okay. Don't worry about it at all, Polenta. Right, so let us pull up a video of Radagon's fight. Unless it like pops up some obscene thing from thing. Right, okay. So, this video, let's drag that down a bit. This video is courtesy of the Abyss Walker. And, oh, hang on, I'm moving the wrong thing around on my screen. So, what is that? Right, stop moving that around. I want to select this. I want to, the game capture, remove that. So here we go. We've got Marika here. Okay. And she is crucified and impaled. Take note of that. Sorry, Terry. Keep your little mirror helm on. Okay. There we go. And as you can see, she gets broken out. Okay. And as she is... Oh, she goes for her hammer. And then you see... Oh, the power's glowing. And her hair, her golden hair, what happens to it? It transforms red. What? And it is Radagon. Yeah! Yes, of course. Can't have Terry and Dottie not being protected from... And there we go. And there's the epic music. Okay, as you fight Radagon of the Golden Order. Love that bit in the game. Because you don't hear this music, the epic music, at any other point in the game until you're facing Radagon. Okay, so that's it. That's the scene. Marika is Radagon. Now, the first thing that we're going to look at, okay, is the origins of Radagon. This is a text dump here of all of the text from Elden Ring. I have been looking through this like crazy. We're going to find... what is it? First battle? No. Let's see. Radagon. Okay, right, Radagon. How many little things are there? Second Leonian Wars. Here we go. There we go. So, this barrier of gold. Okay, here we go. This is the first appearance of Radagon. Okay, so we know that Marika and Radagon share the same body. Okay, and it's crazy. So when did this happen? Some people, and how does this happen? Some people like to say that Marika and Radagon were two different people, and then they became one. Okay, one of the pieces of text that people refer to for this is a line that Marika states, and if we find in page, yet to become. Yeah. So Marika's own words, O Radagon, leal hound of the Golden Order, thou art yet to become me. Thou art yet to become a god. And they think that that means that Radagon and Marika are two different people. But I think that this isn't true. And particularly the next line says, let us be shattered both, mine other self. Now, we are going to hop to where... So this was... where Marika says this, okay, is in... We're going to load up our great character of Giuseppe Bob, who we've completed the game with. We can jump around a little bit with them. So, this text comes from Marika's bedroom, okay? Oh, here we are. Oh, look, not so great for Marika there, but we're going to... Yep. We are going to... Oh, wow. I haven't actually seen the map like that. What? Wow, that looks beautiful. I've never looked at that map. Oh, wow. The Erdtree looks fantastic there, doesn't it? Anyway, we are going to the Queen's bedchamber. Okay? So this is where Melina says, makes the announcement to you. Okay, so this is the Queen's bedchamber. Okay, and you can talk to Melina at this grace, and this is where she says, in Marika's own words, "O Radagon, leal hound of the Golden Order, thou art yet to become me, thou art yet to become a god. Let us be shattered both, mine other self." And I think that this was said to him just before she comes up here, goes into the Erdtree, and shatters the Elden Ring. Okay? So I think those are the last things that she said to Radagon before they went into the Erdtree just over here and she broke the Elden Ring. Okay? And as we saw in that trailer, and as we can see if we go into the thing, the grace is called Fractured Marika. Marika is completely shattered and she is in pieces, much like the Elden Ring itself, which is contained within her body. Okay? Oh look, her head is there. Hang on. Have I got... Yep, here we go. Okay, have a little look. There we go, there's her head. There's her body. Not looking too great, is she? Okay. So, that is where... Spoilers, by the way. So from this, I think that the way that she calls Radagon mine other self, Radagon is part of her. There were never two different people. Radagon came as a part of her. But how? How is this? And one of the interesting things that we have is Radagon's red hair. So Radagon's red hair is distinctive. It's a feature which is held by Radagon and his descendants, held by the fire giants, and held by the misbegotten. So they're like the Leonine misbegotten. And the thing that the misbegotten have in common, so they are all, the misbegotten are all a product of the crucible. So if we pull up, let's look for misbegotten. Okay. Let's see where we go. There we go. So, a spirit with the aspect of wings takes... The misbegotten are held to be a punishment for making contact with the crucible, and from birth they are treated as slaves or worse. They're connected to the crucible. What is the crucible, you may ask? Well, the crucible is the primordial form of the Erdtree. Okay, the Erdtree being that giant tree that we just saw. Okay, so there is so the crucible itself is said to be the primordial form of the Erdtree, and we have the Crucible Knights. The Crucible Knights are servants of Lord Godfrey. Godfrey being Marika's first husband before Marika. Okay, so there was a time in Marika's reign, okay, where she worked alongside Godfrey, her Elden Lord, and he employed the Crucible Knights, and they were part of the society, and that was okay. Okay, I think that changed after Radagon first appeared inside Marika, and I think that Radagon was born in Marika from coming into contact with the Crucible. Okay, if you have a look, so the way that the misbegotten are described, punishment for making contact with the Crucible, held to be a punishment for making contact with the Crucible. I think that Marika came into contact with the Crucible, and that is what changed her. There's the concept of my little mirror helm is slipping. Marika is so Marika came into contact with the primordial powers of the Crucible, and the thing that we see throughout Elden Ring is that the Crucible has got these powers to warp and shift. It causes unrestrained growth of horns and tails and wings. All life seems blended together in the Crucible. So Marika and Radagon. So I think that Radagon was born from the Crucible in Marika. Okay? Born from the Crucible in Marika. That's the first crazy theory, okay, that I think people probably won't like. But so what other evidence do we have for this? So the misbegotten in the files, so in the game files, okay, this is just so when they're developing the game, the misbegotten characters are labeled Children of Radagon. Okay, that's pretty huge. The other thing that you get is you have the Crusader's sword. Crusader, let's find it. Misbegotten. Yeah, Misbegotten Crusader. Okay, so this fellow is a misbegotten. You can see he's got the trademark red hair affiliated with Radagon, and he wields the Golden Order greatsword. This is interesting because this was forged by King Consort Radagon to proudly symbolize tenets of the Golden Order, and it was bequeathed to him by Renala. Okay, so there is a deep connection between Radagon and the misbegotten. And I think the fact that they're called Children of Radagon suggests not that they are Children of Radagon, but maybe people called them that. Because I think that they only started to potentially appear when after Radagon, or people started to connect the two. But I think that this is but obviously something that Marika doesn't want to happen. Okay, this is why the misbegotten are mistreated. They are rejected. Their previous traits, which were linked to holiness, of their connection to the Crucible, used to be a link to divinity, but that's no longer the case. They're now mistreated, and I think that's because the Crucible used to be held in favor until knowledge of the Crucible changed Marika and gave birth to Radagon inside her, and that basically undermines the whole Golden Order. So as Goldmask states in his quest, the Golden Order was based on the premise of one god. And so as soon as Radagon is born, Marika realizes she's two. So Marika knows right then and there that her order is flawed, and the Greater Will has not protected her from this. If anything, the Greater Will has facilitated this. So I think that this, because it undermines the Golden Order, she can't have Godfrey with her anymore. She can't have the Crucible Knights of Godfrey. She sends them all out. She doesn't have them killed. She sends them out to be banished until they can return. And that is because her order is now flawed, and she is aware of that, and she can't have anyone discovering this truth. So that is that, and I think this is like part of the process of Marika becoming disillusioned with the Golden Order. So I think that Marika had contact with the Crucible. Okay, so in fact, let's just update it here. So this is how it works. Okay, so Marika had contact with the Crucible. Okay, and Radagon was born from the Crucible in Marika. Radagon was born from the Crucible in Marika. So when did Marika have contact with the Crucible? Okay, I think that she came into contact with the Crucible in the war against the fire giants. Okay, so we're getting an idea here. It's used as part of, it's used in metallurgy. Okay, it's a melting pot. That's exactly it. A melting pot. And the Crucible of the Erdtree is kind of like this. So the Crucible in Elden Ring is described as this, the primordial form of the Erdtree, and all life is kind of intermingled there, which has some interesting connections to chaos that we'll get onto in the second part of my theory. Well, the second theory. So what do we see in the game that looks like a Crucible? We see Forge of the Giants. That is a really poor picture of the Forge of the Giants. What is this picture? That's a crap picture. Right, hang on. You know what? Screw this. Let's go to the Forge of the Giants, okay? We've got the game open. Why would we not just go there, right? So, the Forge of the Giants, right here. Okay, we're going to travel over there now. That's exactly it. We're going to the in-game rest point. We are... Right, here we go, okay? This, okay, this is... Oh, no, my noodles! I just dropped my theory in my noodles. That's how my day is going. Hang on. Let's put... Oh, where do I even put... No! Terry! The greater will. The greater will is coming for us. Hang on. Right. It's all gone horribly wrong. Just like it happened to E.G. Is the Forge of the Giants. Okay? And it is this massive, massive bowl. Okay? With a never-ending fire inside. Terry did not fall into the noodles, you'll be pleased to know. Oh. Terry did not fall into the noodles. And we're going to just take a little ride back. It was only the theory that fell into the noodles. We're going to just pop back over here so that we can get a good view at it. Okay? But this thing is huge, right? Absolutely massive. Where's the Erdtree? Oh, there it is. You need to be stood on top of the Erdtree to get that. Right. Let's go over here so we can get a good view. Going to run down here. We're not going to die. How many runes do I have? I have quite a lot of runes. I should probably try not to die. But then again, I'm literally at the end of the game. Until the DLC hits. So it kind of doesn't matter. Alright, so we'll just run down here. Look at this. Look at this. If you describe something as a primordial crucible, yeah? It looks like it could be this. Right? So, and this is what the fire giants are protecting. So I think Marika, at the War of the Giants, came into contact with this. And that's what birthed Radagon. Okay? So, the next question is, why? Why would Marika go anywhere near this? How did the War of the Giants start? And I think, okay, again, these are all crazy theories, but we're making the connections. Everything's connected, okay? So, we know that the last time she sends Godfrey away, so the first Elden Lord, Godfrey, gets sent away after the giants are defeated. And we're going to search for divest. There we go. So in Marika's own words, "My lord and thy warriors, I divest each of thee of grace. With thine eyes dimmed, you'll be driven from the lands between. You will wage war in a land afar, where you will live and die. Well, perhaps that might serve you in lieu of a maiden's guidance." This happened after the War of the Giants. So we know that all of the Golden Order children must have been born before this. So we know that Godwyn, the Golden, who ends up dying on the Night of the Black Knives, must have been alive before then. And so would Mohg and Morgott, the Omen twins. Now, we know that so we know they're the children of Godfrey, and Godfrey clearly has some kind of tenderness for them. When you kill Morgott, he like before you fight Godfrey, he holds Morgott's body and embraces it, saying, "Good to see you, Morgott. It's been a long time," which is heartbreaking. But I think that the Omens were outcast, right? And when they're babies, if we look at this is just like some of the saddest stuff, right? So, Omen Bairn, okay? Right, here we go. So the Omen Bairn. Doll of a cursed-born bairn. Okay, Omen babies have all their horns excised, causing most to perish. These fetishes are made to memorialize them. And then this little quote here, "Please don't hate me or curse me, please." And So omens were something that happened, okay, before the regal omens were born. And the regal omens are Mohg and Morgott, okay? You can obtain the regal omen event using the remembrance of the Omen King, which is Morgott. And then this one says, Omen babies born of royalty do not have their horns excised, but instead are kept underground, unbeknownst to anyone, imprisoned for eternity. This is evidence of a trait that happens among royalty, which is hiding your children that bring you shame, okay? It happened in Britain, okay, when there were mentally defective children, that's not the right phrase, but people who were viewed as mentally defective. They were literally just kept away in houses, okay, and never acknowledged. They weren't their births weren't even announced, it's like they just were completely hidden, or people said they died in childhood, okay, because how could the royal blood be seen as having any flaws in it? It damages the purity of the royalty. And so Marika, at this point in time, she's had her golden lineage of Godfrey. They've been bumping children out, okay? And then they have these children who, oh no, Terry! Okay, Marika is like, something is wrong. Her perfect order, there's something wrong, okay? Because these omen children have been born. So what could be a threat to her Erdtree and her order? Well, the fire giants. The fire giants have got the fire which could burn down the Erdtree. Their existence is a threat to the Erdtree. It's because they are there that her children are being born defective. So they have to go, and so they go. The fight against the giants was precipitated by the birth of Mohg and Morgott. Okay, that is another part of this theory. Okay, so the fight against the giants was precipitated by the birth of Mohg and Morgott. Before this point in time, the Crucible was not rejected. The Crucible Knights were part of the Lanedale forces. The misbegotten were not mistreated. But when Mohg and Morgott are born, they are seen as part of... So the horns, it's an issue of the Crucible. Okay, the Crucible is the enemy. The Crucible, the power of the Crucible is with the fire giants, or at least part of the power of the Crucible is with the fire giants, and they have the power to burn the Erdtree. So we need to go and defeat the fire giants, and so that is what they do. And after that, Marika is radically changed with the creation of Radagon inside her, and so she sends Godfrey away. It's interesting because Marika clearly doesn't dislike Godfrey. His view of the world, that might makes right and that the right to rule is dictated by strength, she clearly maintains, because she goes on to tell her children prior to the shattering to make of yourselves what you will, but whatever you do, basically, if you fail, you will be nothing. Okay, and you see throughout the lands between, there are children of Marika who she discards because they came to nothing. The wandering mausoleums are filled with the bodies of Marika's children that died, and she has rejected because they died. They failed. In the say, this might makes right view that Godfrey, who is also Hoaraloo, held on to. So their theology, not theology, but like worldview hasn't changed, but Marika has changed, and she needs to protect her order from that change. So this is so that is where my theory of that goes. So having a quick look at this, we go into why. So why did the Crucible change Marika? So I think one of the most interesting aspects of this is where Elden Ring is filled with alchemy, right? I'm going to pull up, you've probably heard of this, the Rebis. Okay? The Rebis is a picture that comes from alchemy, and it's the concept of the perfect being. So here you go. The divine, they use the word hermaphrodite, a reconciliation of spirit and matter being both male and female. Sun and moon correspond to the male and female halves, just as the red king and white queen are similarly associated. If you might have noticed, Radagon is defined by his red hair, and Marika is very pale, blonde hair, very porcelain white skin. There's clear imagery here that this concept might be a concept of perfection. And I suspect that the greater will has no issue with, in fact, Marika coming into contact with the Crucible and being changed into Radagon is part of the process of her being perfected, but not necessarily perfected in a way she wants. She is being shaped by the greater will, by the concept of fundamental creation, to become this Rebis, this all-encompassing divinity, which she doesn't want. And so this is the first kind of line. This is the first part where there is an issue between what she wants as a god and what the greater will wants as the power behind that god. She realizes that she goes to destroy the power of the Crucible, but she can't. She discovers that she can't when she goes there. She can only seal it away and put a fire giant to protect it. But clearly, whatever the greater will promised her, or whatever promise she held within the greater will or viewed, that was flawed. And so she goes out to explore the depths of the Golden Order, and she announces to her people, okay, there we go. In Marika's own words, I declare mine intent to search the depths of the Golden Order. Through understanding of the proper way, our faith, our grace is increased. Those blissful early days of blind belief are long past. My comrades, why must you falter? So this is a declaration to her people that her previous stance with the Golden Order, which was one of blind belief, she was the god and her order was firm and secure, that's wrong. And she needs to work out what is right. And this leads to disillusionment with the greater will. She's transformed into Radagon, and Radagon. So Radagon. We're going to get into some Jung here, okay? So, Radagon is Marika's Jungian shadow, okay? He represents those parts of her that are not that are incomplete, and I think Jung might have been a bit of a not alchemist. What is not occultist? Might be alchemist. Yeah, he was into this stuff too. Okay, so pervert. That's not what I was saying. He might have been, but that's not what I'm trying to say. So he the concept of this shadow, which is funny enough, the Persona games do a lot of these concepts. Occultist, that's it, occultist. So, because the Rebus alchemy, it's like occultic alchemy as a philosophical concept. This concept of your internal self that you are not at peace with, and that the process of perfection is the idea that your internal self you need to unite, basically. You need to embrace those parts of you that you reject. And that's really seen with Marika and Radagon, because Radagon, she describes as the leal hound of the Golden Order. And she says, you are yet to become me. You are yet to become a god. There is a distinct difference between how Marika acts and how Radagon acts. And she sees those aspects of Radagon as the naivety of her youth. When she shatters the Elden Ring, Radagon tries to put it back together. Radagon defends the Elden Ring from you. Radagon believes in the Golden Order in the same way that Marika used to, until Radagon was born. And when Radagon was born, that part of her was no longer part of her, but still was in a distinct entity. So that is my theory on what happened with Marika and Radagon. From then on, Marika was... So let's just put it here. Radagon is Marika's Jungian shadow. Okay? And Marika set herself then against the greater will. Marika set herself against the greater will. But she can't do it explicitly, because the greater will is the source of her power. So she sets out to undermine it, and that precipitates so many more of the things that she does. The simultaneous, sending away of all the tarnish so they can get stronger and then come back. The establishment of other sources of power, which we'll get into in a second. Blimey, have I been talking for almost an hour? What? I'm only on part 1 of 3 of these theories. How is that the case? This is why I need to do these videos, though, because this stuff has just been going round in my head. So this is why Marika then set herself up against the greater will. Okay, so Marika, well, here's the summary. Okay, we haven't even touched the black flame, and that's something you shouldn't do. Don't touch the black flame. We haven't got there yet. Okay, but yeah. Okay, Marika set herself against the greater will, and that exemplifies that division between her and Radagon. But the fact that they're still one is Radagon stands for all the stuff that Marika used to believe in, but no longer does, now that she's seen how the greater will is not what she thought it was, and it doesn't mean for her what she thought it did. So yeah, that is my theory on how Marika and Radagon exist and what their nature is. Okay, how insane is that? So with that theory done and dusted, if you guys have any thoughts about that, feel free to share them, because I want to know. If you have things to support it, if you have things against it, I'm really interested, because I have built this whole thing up in my head for ages, and I'm really sure that there's something here. But yeah, we'll get to that in a second, because it will also be disagreed with when we get to the twin theory. The final theory there will be some potential sticking points, particularly this timeline. Okay, but at least we've got something firm. The War of the Giants happened after the Omen children were born, because Godfrey was sent away after that, and the Radagon first appeared in the First and Second Liurnian Wars, so the wars against Rhea Lucaria after all of that. So you always thought that Marika betrayed the Erdtree because she was working with a different outer god. So I think, so the thing is when you look at, and we'll be able to touch on it a bit more in a second, there is, I don't think that she worked with a different outer god per se, but what she did is she enabled champions of other outer gods. She is the champion of the Erdtree, and she created an environment, particularly with the shattering itself. That was the ultimate declaration of breaking her order and allowing someone else to have a go, because she was so entwined, particularly with Radagon as well. She couldn't explicitly fight against the greater will, but what she can do is she can open the way for someone else to have a go, which is the story of Rani, that everybody loves. You know, I think it had a higher completion rate for people going for Rani's ending than the other one. So, at least that's what I think with that. Like, I think she betrayed the Erdtree because when you look at it, she is passionate about the Erdtree at the beginning, and then something changes and she's no longer passionate about it. And I think that is because the Erdtree, the Greater Will, the Golden Order, failed her. It failed her, and so she turned her back on it because it's no good if it wasn't giving her what she wanted. So, let's move on to the second theory, shall we? All fire is connected somehow. Friendship ended with the Erdtree. Puppets are my new best friend. Oh man, you wanna get into puppets. So, there is an item. Let's see if I've got it. I should have it. Key items. Let's have a little look. Look at all these items. So many items. Wait a second. I've not activated some of these great runes. What? Oh well. We'll get to the rune stuff in a bit. Okay, we are looking for this. No, we're not. I don't have the item. What? Guys, this is the this is my 100% of achievements earned save file. I've earned all the achievements in this game from the save file, and I don't have the next item I'm going to talk about. What is this? Okay, that's mad. Okay, right, let's find it. No, that's not. There we go. Right, close off the Rebus, close off the Crucible. We won't close that. We want that. Right, okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about, okay, is the Red Hot Wet Blade. I know some of you got excited as soon as I said red hot there, but we are talking about a smithing stone. Well, not a smithing stone. The Red Hot Wet Blade. Red Hot Wet Blade with a cipher engraved can be used as a whetstone knife when applying an affinity using physical or flame type ashes of war. So, okay, where do we... Oh, look, you actually get it at Castle Redmane. There we go. So I probably need to double check that. That's interesting in and of itself. How did I miss that? So, when we look at the wet blades, okay, we'll pull up the wet blades here, okay? The wet blades grant different affinities, and when we have a look, so iron wet blade, this is just the default heavy keen quality. That's standard smithing. The glintstone wet blade has which you can find in Raya Lucaria, unlocks affinity for magic and cold weapons. Now, we know from Rani and the Carian family that magic and cold are connected. There is a connection between magic and cold. Rani learnt magic from a snow witch. We know that there is something intimately connected between glintstone magic and cold. Okay, the red hot wet blade. We'll discuss that in a second. The other one is the sanctified wet blade, lightning and sacred. We know that these two are connected. Okay, when you get the Lanedale warriors, they cast lightning. Okay, they are warriors of their god. Holy and lightning are two things that go hand in hand. Okay, in this, the black wet blade is interesting because these are like occult is really weird. Okay, I had a look at it. There isn't a lot that you get with occult affinity, and poison and blood are status effects. There's some curious stuff with the black wet blade. Okay, but I don't have anything concrete about it. I had a look at it. Don't have anything with it, but there must be a connection here. It's interesting that they are connected to Nokron, the Eternal City. Maybe there's something in that. Okay, but that's not the subject of this one. The interesting thing is this. Fire and flame art, okay? Fire and flame art affinity. You get the flame art weapon affinity from that. So these statistics on weapons will naturally appear on a handful of weapons. So, flame art affinity naturally comes from the Black Flame Tornado, which is the signature move from the Godskins, who wield the Black Flame, and the Prelate's Charge, which is a signature move of the Fire Prelates, who are part of the Fire Monks, who guard the fire of the giants, the Flame of Ruin. That's flame art. Fire affinity naturally comes from the Flame of the Redmanes, which is the Redmane soldiers who are followers of Radagon, and Eruption, which is the fire, which is from a fire incantation from the Volcano Manor. So all of these have clearly got some connection. I know fire, that's it, but the interesting thing is that like these come from very different sources, but there is clearly something about these that is connected. One of the things that kind of set me out on this was when I noticed that the Black Flame monks, their armor is exactly the same as the regular fire monk's armor, but charred. So the Black Flame monks, enthralled by the god-slaying Black Flame, became traitors, abandoning their posts as guardians. The seduction of a taboo is never easily spurned. So, but if you look, they have got the fell god face on it, and this is like an ashen coloured. In fact, yeah, it says ashen cloth, okay, which you get from the same as the flame monks. So we look at the fire monks. If that searches. I mean, nothing's coming up. Let's try fire. Fire monk. Come on. Has my internet died? Am I about to get disconnected from the stream? What? Come on. What's going on? Oh, what? Why is this taking so long? Right, I'm going to have a quick look at... Oh, what? No, oh, hang on. It's loading again. Let's try this again. Right. I want you to search for Fire Monk. And I want you to do that. No, it's... Stream is still there. Yeah, weird. Right, okay. I've got this. Let's have a look at this. See if I've got the Fire Monk armor. Got so many clothes. Fashion souls. I bet I don't have it. I'm trying to make this really important point, and I don't have the flipping armor. Omen armor, Lionel's armor, Radagon's armor. No, 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 no. And yeah, I don't have it. Okay, right. We're gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Fire Monk armor, Elden Ring. Are you kidding me? I can load up the actual wiki page. Right. Anyway. Right. You see that? Look how that is. Damn it! It's there you go. Exactly the same. Okay? It's exactly the same, but it's darker and more charred. Okay? And this is depicting the ancient god of flame, who is the fell god that the fire giants worshipped. Okay? So the ancient god of the flame clearly has a connection to the Black Flame. The Black Flame is used by the Godskins. Okay, so there is clearly a connection between people guarding just the Flame of Ruin, the Giant's Flame, and falling for Black Flame and the Red Flame. Okay, they become enamored with both flames. There's something really interesting about that, because there is no reference to the fire guardians guarding anything other than the fire giants. Okay, so the fact that they came into exposure with the Black Flame from that is interesting. So there is a spell called Flame Cleanse Me. Okay, that reveals that the way of burning away scarlet rot, which the red mains use, came from the fire monks. Let's pull up. Yeah, we'll find it here. So, flame cleanse me. Flame. Cut. What? Hang on. Oh, flame, comma, cleanse me. Creates a fire that burns away toxins, alleviates poison and scarlet rot build-up. This incantation leaves the caster with subtle burns, a reminder they must fear the flame, one of the incantations of the fire monks. Remember a lore tidbit here. All the flame do X buffs. All of the flame do X buffs, always cost a little bit of HP. This is really interesting as well, because one of the things about it... so they always cost a bit of XP, okay? And that is important as well, because there's one of the... It comes up later, because there are some which don't cost any HP, and they're hated by the fire monks, but I think because it also reveals something about them. So, the fire that the red mains use, and you see throughout Caelid, that comes from the fire monks. The source is the same. And the spark aromatic, which is one of the perfumer's items. So the perfumer's spark aromatic. There we go. Though fire was prohibited to those who served the Erdtree, this rule was forgotten as the war, that's the shattering, drew on. Okay, so the monks were, sorry, the perfumer. So no one was allowed to use fire at all until after the shattering. So after the Golden Order, as it has already collapsed, that's when this rule was forgotten. Basically, after it became something that could be leveraged. Pardon me? Leveraged. That is what resulted in people using fire, but it was never used at the time of Marika at her strength. Okay, and that's all fire. So I think that no fire was used before then for a reason. Although, what's the interesting thing? Flame protect me. That was it. So flame grant me strength. Let's pull that one up. I've written that down. Flame. No. Grant me. Superior incantation of the fire monks creates... this incantation does not burn the caster, so it's considered forbidden by the guardians of the flame. Okay, so this is one. So it's interesting as well that all these fire incantations are almost like prayers. They're saying, flame, cleanse me. Flame, grant me strength. It's almost like, oh Lord, cleanse me. Oh Lord, grant me strength. They're almost prayers, which is interesting. But yeah, so the fact that this one doesn't burn the caster means that it's forbidden by the guardians of the flame. So they don't like the fact that this one doesn't burn. And protect me. Oh, here we go. It was said, so Fire Monk's incantation. It said that this incantation was used during the war against the giants long ago, during which it protected the champions of the Erdtree, which is weird because why? Because there's clearly something between this that happened and the perfumers not being allowed to use fire at all. And I think maybe that understanding that appeared, which was that this fire is connected to the flame of ruin, which is connected to all the other flames, including the black flame, which is why you can't use it. We used it to fight the giants, and then upon the discovery of the crucible, a fundamental understanding about that fire changed how fire is treated. Okay, all fire becomes banned until the shattering. The fire monks chased Aiden down because it would reveal the flame monks follow the fell god. So if we... Fire is hot. Aiden. So, Argenti, the chief guardian of the flame, had kept his incantation well kept secret until it was stormed by Aiden. The fell god still lurks within the fire giants. So, Flame of the Fell God is a incantation you can get by defeating Aiden in a Evergel. And I think the fact... So, it draws directly from the power of the fire giants. And I think that knowledge is one why the fire monks had to try and reclaim Aiden, because that would explicitly show to everybody the fire monks are using fire giant magic, and that magic is explicitly connected to the fell god. That's something they can't have because they are allowed to operate in connection with the Golden Order, although you do see them fighting. And you know where you see them fighting the Golden Order? On Mount Gelmir. You have Lanedale soldiers fighting who are assaulting Mount Gelmir, and Mount Gelmir is allied with the fire monks. Hang on, where fire monks chase Aiden, Giant's Flame. Yep. So sorry, I've just realised we're going to skip... Are we skipping over anything? No? Am I going to throw all these out there? Oh, my word. Yeah, no, I've got a whole bunch of stuff to do with those connections. But, so, when you look at Mount Gelmir, there are 3 different factions that you find at Mount Gelmir who are not hostile to each other. Or at least don't appear to be, or at least seem to be fighting on the same side. You find black monks. You find the Black Flame monks with the god skins. They are in the temple to the serpent god. Then you have the Mount Gelmir volcano manor and fire and serpents there. And you have the fire monks who are fighting Lanedale at a fort on the path up to Mount Gelmir. It seems that they are all fighting against the forces of Lanedale together. 3 groups that seem to have distinct, which are all fire connected, but all of them apparently not connected, but they're all fighting on the same side, which is very, very interesting. And then let's go pull up Sergio Flame. Sergio Flame. Yeah, here we go. So the Giant's Flame is the flame of ruin capable of burning the Erdtree. So following the war against the Giants, its ruinous blaze was sealed and guardians appointed to watch over it. So this establishes the reason why the fire giants were attacked, okay, was because they could burn the Erdtree. The flame of ruin could burn the Erdtree. And as I go to my earlier theory, that was, you know, the threat to the Erdtree is what Marika saw as being the cause of the omens. Right, let's move on to... oh, yeah. No, here we go. Yes, this is a connection. Sorry. You thought you were done with this, but you're not, because I'm not, and you're on my stream. Are we at... This might actually be a 2-parter. How am I going to talk about this for 2 hours? What? Okay, so no escape. How do they know the flame of ruin is capable of burning the Erdtree? They know because it's happened before. Someone has previously burned the Erdtree. That is why cardinal sin. The burning of the Erdtree is the first cardinal sin. It is not the domain of mere men. Okay? Some point in history, it was burned. Okay? Because it's not... It would be the first cardinal sin. It is the first cardinal sin. It has happened. Okay? That is why that Lanedale know that the power of the fire giants could burn the Erdtree. Okay? It has happened before. And that is why it's considered the first cardinal sin. The sin must have happened before. Okay. Let's see. So the question I have is, I wonder if this connection to fire has a connection to the previous Elden Ring. So this is where we get the connection to when we're looking at the Crucible and everything like that. Let's have a quick look at Farum Azula. Haven't actually been back here. So when we go to Farum Azula, where we meet Lord Placidusax, there we go, Placidusax. You've got the old Elden Lord, but we've got here a different Elden Ring. What? If you look, this is a different Elden Ring. Okay, you've got it is a vague. It looks, there are some similarities between this ring and the one that is Marika's, but as you look at what it looks like, roots of a plant system that kind of spreads out. Okay. Which is missing from Marika's. And in fact, those plants are all wavy and flexible, unlike the one in Marika. Unlike Marika's, oh, hang on, I've just realized you can't see fully. There you go. Unlike Marika's Elden Ring, where the actual background is Radagon's seal, which is like strict straight lines, there is a difference between these two rings. One is flexible and bendy, which describes the Crucible, where all life is merged together. And then you have the Golden Order Elden Ring, which is where the back line behind it is Radagon's seal. Let's have a quick look. Oh, hang on, that's the wrong window. Elden Ring. Let's just pull the image up of the ring itself. There we go. Get a nice picture of Vike there. Oh, you're kidding me. No, reject all. I don't want any of this. Just shut. Oh, there we go. There we go. Can you see the background behind here is what? No, you can't. You can't see anything because I've got the window open. Right, hang on. No, hang on. Select the right window. You can see that the lines behind the Elden Ring are rigid. Okay, there's a rigid underlining of it, which reflects on what the Golden Order stands for. It's less flexible than the previous order. But I think that in the previous order, the flame, the fire was all connected. Okay, so Black Flame, Gelmir Flame, Fell Flame. There's a connection between all of those things together. If we look at the description of the Black Flame, scouring Black Flame. The Black Flame could once slay gods, but when Malekith sealed destined death, the true power of Black Flame was lost. So Black Flame existed, and we know that the sealing of destined death was what established the Golden Order. In fact, let's... No. Let's find... Solely for Shadow. That's another thing. Let's just see. Destined Death, Destined Death, Destined Death. Here we go. The Rune of Death goes by two names. The other is Destined Death, the forbidden shadow plucked from the Golden Order upon its creation. Okay? So when the Golden Order was established, Destined Death was removed. And so that means that the Black Flame existed before Destined Death. Sorry, before the Golden Order. And potentially all those connections to other fire existed before the Golden Order. There's something primordial about it. Destined Death were... So the Godskin, the Gloam-Eyed Queen was an Empyrean chosen by the Fingers. She was beaten by Malekith, and Destined Death was sealed. She was the queen of the Godskin Apostles, There are some theories about who this Glowmide Queen would be. I've seen some saying that Marika was the Glowmide Queen, but I don't think that's true. Marika defeated the Glowmide Queen to become a god and establish her order. Okay? Marika betrayed Malekith by only needing him as a vessel to lock away destined death. And so the... Blimey, I have got so much written about this. Oh, the fire. The fire is a big one, okay? Malekith is a good boy. Poor boy. So she used him. So he's a shadow-bound beast bound to her like Blythe is bound to Rani. And she betrays him by using him only to bind destined death. What does that mean? It means that if anyone ever wants to upend her order, they have to kill Malekith. Okay, she has cursed himself to die, because if anyone wants to come for her and her order, they have to kill him. That's a pretty brutal betrayal when you think about it. And he didn't understand that. He was like, yep, we're doing good. But the problem is death is a fundamental part of life. Okay? I've got... Oh, yeah. So here we go. So this is my theory, which links into the new DLC. Okay? Is Mesmer a connection to all fire, and is he the one who originally burnt the Erdtree? Okay? So when you look at Mesmer, right, he... it appears that he has got... Let's find Mesmer the Impaler. Here we go. Images. Is this a good one? Won't ever know. Secure connection failed. What are you trying to do to me, Google? Right. Okay. We've got a picture of him here, right? And here... Oh, we don't have a picture of anything. Right. There we go. This fire looks very much like the beginning of the Briars of Sin. Okay? Briars of Sin. Okay? It looks like this. Okay? A curious thing, the Briars of Sin have a connection with the Fire Monks. The Fire Monks have a connection with this concept of the Briars of Sin and their bloody star. Don't know what that is. Possibly another elder god. But again, it's a connection to fire with this outside force. Mesmer has clearly got fire connections. He's got serpent connections. So it might be that Mesmer is this force that is like, has almost like he's got a connection to whatever it is, this primordial force that is linking the serpent fire of Gelmir, the black flame of the godskins, the fell flame of the fire giants and the fire monks, the Briars of Sin. It might all come together with Mesmer, potentially. Okay, we might find out more about what this connection is, this mystery thing that links all fire together. But there is a bit of fire that we're missing as we look at these things, and that is chaos. Okay, the three fingers. Okay, that melts all that distinguish and divide away. Okay, that is the agenda of chaos, isn't it? May chaos take the world. Burn all that distinguishes and divides. May chaos take the world. There we go. Burn the Erdtree to the ground and incinerate all that divides and distinguish. May chaos take the world. Incinerate all that divides and distinguishes. May chaos take the world. See, this is why we've got the tinfoil hats on, okay? The Golden Order would not appreciate this. So, does the division, the removing all that divides and distinguish, sound like something else we've heard of? Does it maybe sound like the Crucible? The Crucible, where close in nature to life itself. There we go. A vestige of the Crucible of primordial life, born partly of devolution. It was considered signified divine, increasingly destined as impurity as nature's divide. So the Crucible of primordial life, things that are exposed to the Crucible, the things that define them disappear. Okay, they start to grow aspects of other creatures, things that, yeah, I would describe it as chaotic, okay? A chaotic devolution. And it's just really interesting that chaos, which is also fire-based, wants to destroy all that distinguishes and divides. And we have this element of all that distinguishes and divides. Like, there was something primordial about that, okay? Order has come and wants nice straight lines, but it used to be wiggly. Wiggly. It used to be not quite so divided. So it said that sickness of the flame of frenzy started with Shabriri, and despair summons the flame of frenzy. And it's interesting because that suggests then that perhaps with destined death removed from the order, with death gone, life isn't working how it should be. And it's almost like the chaos flame, the three fingers are almost like the bubbling out of, like, everything's being held on for too long. Things aren't being allowed to die. Okay, things are supposed to die, but they're not. And without that, everything, it's almost like creation is breaking. It needs to die. And I'll get into how important death is in a second. Wiggly. I'm glad you're enjoying the wiggly. Right. It's all good. Tin hat, foil, yes. Thank you for the subscription, Hercules. I'm glad that is what was like, you know what? This is why we're here. Oh, man. So, what's the next thing we're going to look at? We're going to look at the fingerprint shield, okay? Because we are... Fingerprint grape? Nope. Fingerprint shield. Hang on. What? Is it not called a fingerprint shield? Oh, fingerprint stone shield. There we go. One of the heaviest of all great shields, part of the tomb of an ancient god. Interesting. So the god that existed before the Golden Order. There we go. The readerless fingers, that's the three fingers, relayed their message through these imprints, said to be the very seeds from which frenzy first sprouted. That's really interesting imagery, plant imagery, to describe the birth of chaos and the frenzied flame. And if you look at this ancient Elden Ring, these look like tree roots, don't they? And the crucible was the primordial form of the Erdtree, plant imagery. Things grow from this crucible, like plants. Where there's another reference to the crucible, so you've got the flower crucible. Okay, flower. There we go. Miranda. Okay, so Miranda's prayer is an item that you can't get in game, but NPC uses. And Miranda was maiden of the flower crucible, said to be the very first of this breed. You have a bunch of plants in the game called Miranda plants, and the suggestion here is that Miranda was a person who transformed into a plant. The thing that divided her from plant life wasn't that. Like, she transformed. There's a transformational aspect. The thing that kept her human stopped being, and she is now became a plant growing. And the flower crucible seems to be potentially the same crucible, the crucible of life. And these lines between distinguishing and dividing are gone. It's interesting. And so life was all blended together, not unlike the god skins. This was the other thing. So when we look at the god skins, and this is where all fire is connected, come together. If we look at, we're gonna look at their armor. Here we go. Are we? Maybe not. Hang on. Where is it? There we go. Nobles are the most ancient apostles who are said to have assimilated in human physiology. What else do we know like that? Like the misbegotten, like everything connected with the crucible, not unlike the crucible, the Erdtree in its primordial form. So there's clearly a connection here between these bearers of black flame and the crucible. I'm just drawing this all together. Okay, there's a connection between all fire. Okay. what have we got next? Crucible Knight Ordovis's sword. Where am I going with this? Nature to life itself. Let's have a look. Ordovis. Right, here we go. I love that I am rediscovering my own theory as I'm going through this. Great sword. This sword is imbued with an ancient holy essence. Its red tint exemplifies the nature of primordial gold, said to be close in nature to life itself. So this is important because we see... So there's a connection between... so it's this primordial gold, said to be close in nature to life itself. So you get the things that you see that are red in game, that you see red tints, okay? Red tints come from either your own blood, okay? But where it's related to magic, you could tell the guy who wrote Game of Thrones was here. Yeah, you can. I genuinely, there was one point when I was writing, it's probably a bit on the twins, okay? The twin theory. When I get to that, I was literally like, just like Game of Thrones. And then I was like, hang on a second. The guy who wrote Game of Thrones wrote this. Makes sense. It was a genuine, like, I was going to write just like Game of Thrones. And I was like, hang on, they have the same writer. That was funny. We'll get to that as well. I know, right? This is, I need the tinfoil hat to contain all of my thoughts, but like, it has just been, this has been my brain for the past like 2 weeks. I'm not even joking. Work has been super stressful, and I've just been like, right, I'm getting back into Elden Ring, and then the lore has been like, rah! So, yeah, the things that we see that have a red tint, okay, are ancient dragon lightning. The ancient dragons who used this Elden Ring have red lightning, something that later dragons do not have the ability to do. Dragons born under the Golden Order cannot do red lightning. The other thing that has a red effect is Malekith's Black Blade. When it is doing the Blade of Destined Death, okay, it is black with red highlights, okay? There is something primordially important in death that is connected to life itself. What? Death and life connected? Primordial gold? What? Primordial form of the Erdtree is close in nature to life itself. There is something connecting all fire and the crucible, which is why both were forbidden by the Golden Order, because that connection undermined it. And that connection, I think, is death. Okay, death is really important, and death was excluded from the Golden Order. Just as a random side note, the four-toed fowlfoot has a really interesting description. Okay, you might know this as the lucky item. Four-toed foot of a fowl. Since old times, the needy... Wait, that's not it. Hang on. Gold pickled fowlfoot, that's it. Four-toed foot of a fowl. Wait, what? That's not it either. Hang on. No, it's the there we go. Sorry. Pickled feet. No, four-toed fowlfoot. In the lands between, having 3 digits is seen as a bad omen. As such, the four-toed fowlfoot is a gift of great luck indeed. I just thought that was really interesting because clearly this is a reference to the frenzied flame 3 fingers. But people don't know about them. But like, it's at least just gone culturally down as an omen. 3 fingers is bad. I just think that's really interesting. That was just a little thing that I found when I was researching. So, the concept of the importance of death links us back to one of the more interesting things in Elden Ring. And that is... Let's go... Oh, let us... Should I spend those runes, or should I just hope that I don't die? Let's hope that we don't die. Okay. Let's go to... Where's safe? Because all of this area is super unsafe. I'm going to... You know what I'm going to do, actually? I'm going to... switch to my other character, my currently live character. so that I don't lose my end game runes. Because that's how I roll. Right, let's have a look. Close. Okay. Load game. There we go. As you can see, my new character has got the mirror helm equipped, ready for ready for anything. Right, here we go. So we're going to pop down to here. This beautiful, beautiful place. Let's see. Yeah, let's go here. So the eternal cities underground, but there's this really interesting species here called the ancestral followers, and I cannot call torrent here. We'll call torrent in just a second. Okay, so the beautiful cities, and here we have, hang on, let's get down a little bit further to where they are, the ancestral guardians. Now, the ancestral guardians are a bit of an oddity, I found. Like, it's just like, you know, like, what are they? And why can you go and kill their giant deers? Like, it seemed, you know, when you're just like, it's one of these weird things where you're just like, what is this in the world? It certainly goes to make it a bit more fantastical. But, like, what even are they? Here we go. So you've got some down there. And, oh, I've just noticed they've got a bunch of, oh, look, they're walking with the, oh, they're walking with the animals. I have never noticed that before. Oh, that's super interesting. They're like going with the animals. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, my word. Right, hang on. Let's hop off there. Curious. Very curious. Huh. All the animals are just going with them. Interesting. So, what do we get from the ancestral followers? So, they live a distance from the Erdtree, awaiting new buds, certain to sprout from their very flesh, their souls. This is a description that comes from very flesh. That's a very... Oh, hang on. So, the Great Horned Headband. Okay. The ancestral followers keep their distance from the Erdtree, awaiting new buds. They're certain to sprout from their very flesh, indeed their very souls. What's this about? It's about their horns. Okay, you have the winged great horn. There we go. So they believe that life can sprout from buds. And we get this similar concept. You have the concept of, so with the Erdtree, horns were seen as a blessing by the crucible, right? Yes, exactly. Horns are seen as a blessing by the crucible. And here, a unique horn in which the power of ancestral spirits, oh, hang on, wait, let me scroll that up because there we go. Let me drag this down. No, oh, come on. Click the right thing. There we go. The power of ancestral spirits fiercely dwells. This large wing-shaped specimen is wielded as a weapon of spirit worship. In the ancestral spirit worshipping faith, these were considered envoys' wings, made to reap the lives of beings which experience no sprouting. Okay, so from this ancient faith before the Erdtree believed that life can sprout from beings, and when they don't, they are killed. Envoys' wings. We have a creature which fits this description, don't we? We have the deathbirds. Okay, the deathbirds are these creatures that wield black flame, okay, to burn people. Okay, this imagery of them being some kind of reapers goes perfectly in line with the faith of the ancestral guardians. So, like the deathbirds were had some kind of their role was to remove life, kill things that are not continuing to sprout. Okay, the horns of these creatures keep sprouting. The ancestral spirit, horn. Let's pull that up. Ancestral spirit horn. Ancestral. There we go. Let's see. Store. There we go. So, the ancestral followers believe the horns of a long-lived beast continue to bud like antlers over and over again until the beast one day becomes an ancestral spirit. And where is... Here we go. The number of new growths bud from this antler-like horns of the fallen king. Each glowed with light. Thus does new life grow from death, and from death one obtains power. So here you've got, when things die, new life grows from it, and through dying and growing, one gains more power. Interestingly enough, like the path that the tarnished follow, then they die and come back to life again, and they become more powerful through that. Just slightly interesting. But yeah, there's just this interesting connection here between the concept of life is budding, and you see this happen elsewhere. So when Melania blooms, there's the suggestion that the children that come from that are the red-headed Valkyries that Gori wants you to deal with. There's the suggestion that they may have budded from the sacramental buds that can be found around Caelid. A lot of flower imagery there. Something primordial about life budding. Same with the Miranda plants. Same with these ancestral followers. Same with how births apparently work with the Erdtree, where people seem to be born from the Erdtree. People aren't born in the normal way. Melina is baffled by Bok, who is born in a traditional way, because that's not how people are born in the Lands Between. She thinks that some of his love of his mother and how important that is to him is because a unique thing, because he is born as opposed to having just been created by the Erdtree. So there's some interesting primordial force here about which connects fire and death, and that being a process of life and a process of fundamental existence that the Golden Order suppressed by removing destined death from the Elden Ring. Removing destined death has ruined this entire system and prevented it from working how it should. That is the all fire is connected theory. Okay, the Golden Order was founded by removing destined death. You knew Bok was a special little monkey. Oh, let's get into what Melina says about him. Okay. Mother. Not bother. Mother. Hang on. Blue silver born from the same mother as the archers themselves. Motherland. No. Here we go. So this is Melina talking about your seamster Bok. I see him crying from time to time. I think he misses his mother. Does he want someone to tell him he's beautiful? Does being born of a mother mean one behaves in such a manner? She finds it interesting the way he behaves, because being born is an odd thing, particularly being born of a mother. She thinks it's weird. And births themselves are something that Melina loves. Like, she finds them fascinating. When you claim the frenzied flame, she asks you not to do it, because however in this world has become, however mired into what to stare, life endures, births continue. There's beauty in that, is there not? If you would become Lord, do not deny this notion. What Melina wants is for you to not try to start everything from scratch, okay? Everything is broken. Do something about it with the Elden Ring. You can make the world better, but don't just destroy everything. Don't try to bring everything back to that primordial form. Births continue and life endures. There's still life. She thinks that's beautiful. She finds it fascinating. And it's just interesting. So it's like, build on what there is. Don't let it all go. And and she wants destined death in the world. She wants destined death. We can get more into that when we deal with the twin theory, okay? Because I'll be speaking about Melina. But yeah, it's just really interesting. So there's clearly a connection between fire, the ancient religion that came before the Erdtree. All fire is connected. It's connected to death and connected to life. And there's something in that that's really interesting. I'm going to wrap up in a second, and we'll have to do another stream tomorrow to go through the twin theory. But a final thing that was just really interesting to think about that someone described was they said that I saw someone mentioned about the serpent, the great serpent that ate Rykard, as being like the serpent at the bottom of Yggdrasil. And I was like, ooh, that's really interesting, because it's like an entire cosmology. There's clearly similarities in this one with a giant tree, serpents, and, you know, there's a lot of interesting stuff there. But it made me think that maybe it was something like that. Maybe all the different all the different outer gods are all gods that are part of a system that does work. Like, it's like a, you know, maybe the snakes do have some kind of role in the terms of destruction, and, you know, you have birds that are crows. Maybe it's just this, they are remnants of this all-encompassing system that the greater will has interrupted, maybe. And the greater will hasn't just taken over the whole land. These gods are still there, but it has interrupted the entire system that it was. It's like, I don't know, say like a Christian faith suddenly crashing into a pagan world and adopting a lot of, say, their traditions and holidays and festivals. And a lot of those things are now defined within the Christian faith, but they have origins which are also undeniably linked to gods that are not Christian. That's interesting. Just thought of that. Something similar happened here with strange analogy. Something similar happened with the lands between. You know, the Elden Ring, the greater will. You know, it's interesting. Merry Christmas. So yeah, that's where we're going to end the stream today. We managed to cover Marika and Radagon, the origins, and all fire is connected. That took 2 hours. So we'll, in theory, have 1 hour left for the twin theory. My voice is sore. I'm going to, I'll upload this to YouTube. Okay, we'll have a good time. And I'll see if I chop it up. I don't know. My voice is sore. I'm going to eat my noodles now. They must be stone cold. Thank you for joining, guys. It's been a lot of fun. And I will catch you next time. Okay, guys? Take care. Bye.